Another adventure is starting to begin. Well, I went to Calais the other day and I picked this box up. What could it be? Really now, really, what could it be? It's a pretty big box. It's quite a big box. I'm not quite sure. Let's open her up and see what it is. Yeah, they did that with the forklift.
What do you got there?
That is a flail mower.
A brand new one.
Well, it's the best way to buy them. So this is a flail mower from Nova Tractor. I don't know if I can get this box. I don't know if I can get it out of the box without tearing the box all apart. You're not going to check the gas. So that's a flail mower. Sort of like a bush hog kind of thing. Trying to video here. Did you catch the look that she gave me? Ha ha ha. My wife's awesome. She does a great job. She loves mowing. She'll spend a couple hours mowing around the yard here for us. But she has an awful problem with checking the fuel. She usually runs her out of gas at some point. Anyway, there she goes. Well, I got the contract to cut the brush along the ATV trail along with grading this year. And I've looked at a whole bunch of different options and how I was going to do this, but I opted to go with this flail mower. This will cut probably about a 1-inch tree. After using it for one day, I did about 20 kilometers here last week. A 1-inch tree is pretty hard to cut with it because it's too long, and what happens is it lays the tree down and it doesn't quite cut it, but that's okay because I know I'm gonna have to go back and do some stuff by hand with either chainsaw or brush saw. So we'll see what happens with that. Well, that wasn't too bad. So we got her in here. Take the chain off. There's the PTO shaft. There's the jack stands. A whole bunch of other parts. I'm gonna open everything up. I'm going to open everything up and I'm going to go through the instructions. I know. Instructions. Poop. Anyway, we're going to go through the instructions and figure out what steps we need to do. I don't know. I think I might have to install it on the tractor and work my way back. Just give me a minute. I'm going to go find out. So after looking at the instructions, it gave me a pretty good idea where things go. It's a pretty straightforward piece of equipment. So I started with taking everything out of the package and getting everything, get a look at everything so I can get ready to put things together. It seems to be built fairly well. It's pretty rugged. Some of the stuff was already together and some of the stuff you had to put together. I don't know if it would have been easier to put the pieces on the tractor and then that way, but the instructions never really said. I ordered this from Nova Tractor, and what I looked at, and the price was really decent. It's a light model. I'm hoping it's going to do what I want to do. I have a ditch in front of my yard that I can mow with it now, and it's going to be good for that. But the main reason was the ATV trail, so I can offset and mow some of the off of the trail, other than drive into bushes with a bush hog or back in and all kinds of weird concepts. So this is the reason why I went with this. Now I have used it. You'll see a little bit of video at the end of me using it. This will cut roughly a 1-inch brush or piece of tree. But if the tree is long, all it does is lay it down, and it doesn't really get a good chance to cut the tree. So I'm going to have to go back and do some trimming with a brush saw or a chainsaw later on, which is fine because I figured I'd have to do that anyway. The connectors that came with it were flat face connectors, and they weren't the ones I used, so I had to go to town and get some different stuff. And the hoses were a little different, so I had to come up with a concoction to hook the lines up, but that was not too big a deal. So frigged away, put it all together. Took me a little time, but it's not too bad. Gave me something to do for an afternoon, and pretty happy how it went together. So once I get it all together and get it on the tractor, I did put the different connectors so I could hook up to my hydraulic system, and everything works pretty great. I did buy a couple of speed controllers for the hydraulic system, and it seems to help. There is a speed control for the angling of the head, but there's no speed control for the swinging out. And this unit is fairly heavy, and when you start swinging it out past the ditch, and my tractor's not huge, so it's nice to have a little bit of control. It's still not as slow as I'd like to see it, but I'll frig with it and see how it works. It's a little jerky. If you had levered controls like you would have on your bucket, front end bucket, would be a lot better. The controls I'm using are electronic. It's just a switch, so they are on or off. There's no feathering it. So the speed controllers are helping, and it worked pretty good once I got out on the trail, so I was happy with that. Of putting it together, you have to kind of route the hoses in proper order to be able to run it, and got all that together, did some final touches, put it on the tractor, and you can see here it working, and it seems to work pretty good. You have the ability to move it in and out as you're driving. I still find it a little too fast and jerky, but I've got the regulators or speed controllers for the hydraulics on each side, and it's certainly still jerky. I don't know how you can fix that. I will look into more ideas before it's all done. But it seems to mow the little bit of brush and long weeds like I expected. And I also did my front yard. I was curious to see how it would work. It's a little bit slower because it's a little bit narrower than my finish mower, probably 1.5 feet, or yeah, it's a good 1.5 feet narrower than my finish mower, so it's not cutting as much at one time, so it does take more time, it's a little slower, but it did a good job. And that's with the hammer cutters. They claim the Y cutters work better with grass, but these hammer cutters seem to be cutting the grass here pretty well. I know I went and I hit a few things when I did this job, this section, and I checked the hammers, and there's some scarring on the hammers, so I'll probably take a mini grinder to them and give them a light sharpening before I go out on the next trip. But I did a full day's work here, and it took me approximately 8 hours, and I did 20 kilometers. So it's not a fast job, but it did what I expected, and I guess it's as fast as I expected it was going to be. So it's not too bad. It's widening out the trail the way I would like to see. It's giving people on side-by-sides an area where they can kind of move over and they can see what they're driving into. It's giving people that are walking on the trail an area that they can step onto the side and not step into a bunch of brush or a hole or whatever, so they can see. So it's working out the way I expected, and all good. All right, thank you for watching. If you're interested in a flail mower, I'm going to have more information as I learn how to use it. Again, this flail mower is from Nova Tractor. I ordered it online. It was significantly cheaper than a lot of the other brands I looked at, and let's give her a try. Understanding it is a light model, but it will do, certainly doing what I'm expecting here right now. So it's all good. Let's see. We'll see how the end of the summer works out, and we'll go from there. So when I get this all done, I'll probably end up going through with a chainsaw or a thinning saw and cutting some of the bigger stuff that this unit didn't cut, and give it a good 3 foot extra on each side, and it's certainly going to make it better for everybody. All right, thanks for watching. Appreciate you coming along on this journey. I hope you subscribe, and if you get a chance to get out in your local trails, get out and ride, get outside and enjoy your local area, and just go out and build something.